Okay, so last night on Monday Night Football, the Buffalo Bills absolutely dismantled the New England Patriots 38-9. 38-9. That is unbelievable. But you know what? Let's get right to the stats tonight, okay? First
Oh,
up, Josh Allen. Josh Allen is proven to be a top three MVP this year. I mean, this guy went 27 for 36, four TDs, no interceptions, and 320 yards against the New England Patriots, who had a very good defense coming into this game. And we were talking about Stephon Gilmore not playing, how that's going to be a big effect, and absolutely it was because Josh Allen absolutely lit them up. And then the rushing game wasn't really there, but I will say this though: Zach Moss had 12 rushes, 57 yards, and a TD. So I mean, he did a very good job with the rushing game, but obviously they wanted to lean more on Josh Allen, and this is completely different from, when your running backs don't perform, it puts more pressure on your quarterbacks. That is completely different. This instance right here is completely different because the running back did do a decent job for the amount of times he did get the ball. They just wanted to put the offense right through Josh Allen. But if you want to talk about a star who was outside the game besides Josh Allen, or besides Josh Allen, if you want to talk about a star on the Buffalo Bills who really did perform, Stephon Diggs had 9 receptions, 145 yards, and 3 TDs. I mean, let me tell you something, bro. I said it once, I'll say it again. Stephon
Stephon
Diggs
Diggs,
is one of the best wide receivers.
receivers in the league.
Absolutely. So anyway, so everybody else really didn't get involved. I mean, Dawson Knox had 3 receptions, 51 yards, so that was decent. And then Lee Smith had a TD. So I mean, as for offense, that's really all that went on right there. Defense, they did a really good job, but the stats are kind of light. I mean, start with Matt Milano. Matt Milano had 8 tackles, 1 sack, and a tackle for loss. Tremaine Edmonds had 5 tackles. Quentin Jefferson had a sack and a tackle for loss. Dean Mardeau had a sack and a tackle for loss. Justin Zimmer had a tackle for loss, and Ed Oliver had a tackle for loss. But other than that, it was kind of it was basically a blowout. But these stats don't really show a blowout. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong. Josh Allen and his 320 yards and 4 TDs and Stephon Diggs, they absolutely do. But I mean, if it wasn't for those two factors, these really don't look like blowout stats. You know what I'm saying? Like if I were to read these stats to you without telling you Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, you wouldn't consider this really a blowout. So, I mean, if I really had to point to a factor that really won this game, it's definitely Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. I think that offense really took it to them, and I think they really just completely passed it right down the New England Patriots' throats.
Yeah, man. I mean, I look like a fool now because yesterday we were saying that this game was going to be
Yeah,
close, and we were
absolutely.
saying that now I look like a fool because this they blew them up by over 30 points. I
Right.
mean, man, it's crazy. Oh,
We
well, technically 29 points, but
we kind of pointed it to like when the Patriots made it close the previous game, even though they lost, they made it close the previous game, and we were pointing to Cam Newton, and we were kind of pointing to, you know, hopefully he would play at a more decent level like he did in the beginning of the season. But let me tell you something, dude. Okay, usually when there's a good offensive game and the defense just can't get nothing done, right? The other offense got to step up to make it close, and the New England Patriots did not do that, bro. Let me tell you something. The passing in general, two quarterbacks. There was Jared Stidham and there was Cam Newton, right? Two of them combined went 9 for 21, 78 yards and no TDs.
how much? Wait. How much did Jared Stidham have? Do you know?
He went 5 for 10 with like I think 44, and then I think what Cam Newton had like 34.
That's unacceptable.
I'm gonna double check, but I believe that's what it was. They
That's
definitely
unacceptable.
70
Yeah, 'cause I remember reading this morning about how he had like the lowest passing yard rate for any Patriots quarterback since like 2000 or something.
Yeah, Jared Stidham went 4 for 11. Cam Newton went 5 for 10. Jared Stidham had 44 yards. Cam Newton had 34 yards passing. That is unnecessary, man. Two quarterbacks could not get over 100 yards passing. This shows you that the Patriots need to get a quarterback this draft, or they need to get one in the offseason or something, because this is not good.
That's absolutely unacceptable.
And you know what? Cam Newton, he showed glimpses of him returning to like a better version of himself, not obviously the MVP version of himself, or like even a year after, but in the beginning he was showing like glimpses of his former self. This game he did now past few weeks he is not. The later on in the season he has not been playing that great, and because of that, the Patriots are suffering.
Right, right.
Now, going back to that, I can't say everybody on the Patriots did bad. Obviously, the defense didn't show up, but there were a few pieces on the defense that did. For instance, Jonathan Jones had 8 tackles and a forced fumble. Adrian Phillips had 7 tackles. Devin McCourty had 6 tackles and a tackle for loss. And J.C. Jackson, as bad as his game was, as bad for him letting go of 3 TDs and guarding Stephon Diggs all day and just not doing a good job, he did have 5 tackles. And in one player, if I let me tell you something. If I had to pick one player in the Patriots that I would call an MVP, it's Jake Bailey, the punter, because he didn't put them in a bad situation at all. He gave the defense an opportunity to stop the Bills from getting momentum, and the defense for the Patriots just couldn't do it. Let me tell you something. Jake Bailey had 7 punts, averaged 51.7 per punt. He had 4 punts inside the 20 and a long of 62. You cannot ask much more from a punter than that. And he put them in great field position for the defense to stop them, and they couldn't do it.
Listen, man. I don't know what else there is. Excuse me. I don't know what else there is for me to say about the Patriots, man. I mean, we knew you and me were saying that they weren't going to make the playoffs. I didn't think it was going to look this bad, man. And I love Cam Newton. We obviously know that. I mean, look at what he did for my team, but I hate to see him like this, dude. I really do. I really hate to see him like this. I really thought he was going to do relatively well for the Patriots, and it's just not happening. As for the rest of the Patriots, I mean, like you said, they need to get a quarterback. I think they need to like get more pieces on defense. They need to add more to the rushing and receiving core. I mean, it's that simple.
I'll say this. Just cut you off real quick. I'm gonna say this. If they want to keep these quarterbacks, which I don't think they're gonna, if they want to keep Cam Newton or Jared Stidham, I think this team should be more of a run team because Sony Michel is not a bad running back. Um, Damian Harris is not a bad running back. Um, James White, not a bad running back. Rex Burkhead, they're not bad running backs. I think you should really fully put this offense through the run game. It's as simple as I'm not saying rush the ball every time, but I think primarily the key factor on the offense should be the rushing game. You know what I'm saying? I think Harris could be a great running back for the Patriots. I really do. But he doesn't get the opportunities he needs in order to become that great running back. And I said it in other Patriot videos. He could be a great running back. He can be one of the most elite running backs in the game. I really truly believe that. Same thing with Sonny Michel, but they don't get the opportunities to do that because the ball is always being put in Cam Newton's hands to win the game. And honestly, dude, I'd get rid of. I'm releasing Cam Newton after this season. Like Bill Belichick, obviously we talk about how stern he is and how strict he is as a coach and how like serious he is. But when was the last time you ever seen Bill? And he has his moments of like anger, right? But when was the last time you seen Bill Belichick take a phone and break it
Yeah,
on the
right.
sideline? You don't. But that's how pissed he is. I mean, don't get me, and I don't blame him. If two of my quarterbacks combined had 78 passing yards with no TD, I'd be pretty pissed too. If my team defense would go at 38 points, I'd be pretty pissed too, especially the fact that the punter set them up great so the defense could stop them.
Yeah, right.
4 punts, Nate, inside the 20. They couldn't stop him.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
mean, I gotta be real with you. Running game is not the issue. The running game might be the best part of this team. But let me tell you something. They got to get a new passing game. And you know what? Mac Jones from Alabama is coming out this draft. Um, Kyle Trask is a good quarterback. If you want to wait a little bit, then you got Ian Book and Sam Ellinger and all those guys. Desmond Riddler, he's a very good quarterback from Cincinnati. So I mean, so if you really want to go get a quarterback in the draft, then think about the quarterbacks I just suggested and go get one. But here's the problem: it's much more than just a quarterback.
You need, like you said, you need wide receivers. You need more defensive pieces.
Right, and I
Maybe
mean,
a running back. I
honestly,
don't know, but maybe.
on I wouldn't say a running back. They got 4 very good running backs, and I think they can definitely go with those running backs, but they gotta give them more opportunities.
Yeah,
These
right.
running backs need to have more opportunities. You use them as screen guys and you use them as like these like pass targets, but not in a good way. Like for instance, like Alvin Kamara, in my opinion, his biggest weapon is his receiving as a running back. But the Saints use him well as a receiving running back. Patriots don't do that, but they try to do it and they can't. So I mean, give Sony Michel more chances. Give Harris more chances. Give give these guys more chances because they can be very elite running backs. Sonny Michel proved it in Georgia. Harris proved it in Alabama. They can become very good running backs, but you're not giving them the chance to prove it. And I think that's a key problem right there. So with that being said, I mean, congratulations to the Buffalo Bills because honestly, as much as we want to put like blame on like how bad the Patriots are, the Buffalo Bills have been amazing these past few weeks.
They've been amazing overall all year.
Yeah, absolutely, especially that offense, and I do believe that that's one of the most deadly offenses in the league. I want to jump and say I think they're more deadly than the Chiefs.
I
I do.
agree. I mean, the Chiefs offense is scary. I mean, they have had so many close games against teams they should have blown out. You know what? I'll say it right now. They should have blown the Falcons out of the water last week. And they only beat them
They
by
had the
3 points.
same thing with the Panthers, and the same thing
Same
with the
exactly.
Raiders. Like a lot of these teams, even though they're 14-1, probably going to go on 15-1. Their offense sometimes has been questionable. The Broncos, that's another great example. The
Right.
Bills, though, the teams that they beat offensively, they beat them pretty well.
Right.
Obviously, they had that like little tiny like part of the season when like they were very close, like the Jets and the Patriots the first time. Like you know what I'm saying? Like remember when they were close to losing to the Jets and then they were
Yeah,
close.
right. Yeah.
Obviously, and they I think I believe they beat the Raiders. I'm not sure.
I
I can't remember if they
I
beat the Raiders or not,
I
but
don't think they beat the Raiders.
that game was pretty close too. So they did have like oh, Raiders won.
I think the Raiders did win. I'm pretty sure. Let me go check it.
So so even that, like even so those games right there, that's obviously like a small portion of the season where where the Buffalo Bills were kind of questionable, but they turned it right around. They didn't stick. You know what I'm saying? They didn't play the same after those 3 weeks. They got their heads straightened, and then they ended up dominating teams.
Right.
And I think if they continue this, I do think the Buffalo Bills have a good chance of making a Super Bowl, let alone winning it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I absolutely agree, man.
So with that being said, I got to give a lot of credit to the Buffalo Bills, especially
Absolutely.
Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. They've been amazing together. And then you got Cole Beasley, and you had all the other factors on the offense, the two running backs, Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, and then you had the other two running backs in Cole Beasley and Gabriel Davis. And you had Dawson Knox, who's a very underrated tight end, in my opinion. And you had all those guys, and they're doing a great job for the Buffalo Bills. And I mean, so with that being said, congratulations to the Buffalo Bills on being dominant for the past 4 or 5 weeks. And as for the Patriots, I mean, a change has to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, congratulations to the Buffalo Bills, Patriots. Like Mario said, changes to come. And if you guys did not watch this game, we will leave the highlights in the description down below.